It is said that the Ban had four wives. One of them lives in the east, and one of them lives in the north, and the other one lives in the south, and one lives in the west. These four wives at the edge of the world, the edge of where the dome sky meets the ground. And so Ban would, Hasmumda, all, throughout the day, he would go different places all around the world because he's that, Ma'anyuko, the Guak, he protects the roads, and he takes up the stuff that's bad and moves it out of the way, and he's a Tracy Marke, the a medicine man. What do you call a medicine man? But actually, the Marke, he sees things because he was born of a supernatural birth, and so he goes all over the place. But he was over there and it's on the east side, I don't know what he was doing over there, maybe looking for food or whatever. And so he's looking for a place to sleep, and so he goes over there to his wife's house, that Matamki Ame, on the east side of the earth, and the known earth. And so he ran over there and he went to sleep there that night with at his wife's house, and they make chewy. A long time ago, the autumn people made chewy, and it wasn't like something that you could just do, like it would just take like a minute. Now, you go to the store and you buy your chewy and you bring it home and you make your shimon or whatever you're gonna make. But a long time ago, people had to grow the corn, and they grew the corn, and they would take the corn and put it on the machut, on the grinding stone, and then they would like scrub it until it became real, like it was just powder, and they would put it in a little thing, and they would have that, and that's how they made their chewy a long time ago. So to make a bag, even just to make for a person's like their meal, it took a long time, and it took a lot of work for those women. That's why those women are always, strong, because they're always doing that. How much, I don't know. But anyway, so and they would make that chewy. So it took a long time for women. And so sometimes if a woman had a lot of daughters, or, if their sons had wives, and they would make a lot of chewy. And maybe some woman over there only has one daughter, or maybe some elderly couple that don't have any kids. They will make some, the mothers, but they won't make a lot. So people were always sharing back then. They didn't ask for any payment or anything. So what happens is that when they make all that chewy, they would take some and put it in a bag and take it over to the people that needed the chewy. So they didn't have to work so hard, because you have a lot of daughters, and especially like the homosexual men, no piece of gugok, and they would help them make that chewy. And so they did that. So the partner was over there, and he slept over there. And the next morning he woke up, and his wife came, and I don't know, maybe she had kids, I don't know. Doesn't say it in the story. But she had this big bag of chewy, like 50 pound or whatever. And she told the bun, I want you to take this chewy, and I want you to go across and give it to my sister that lives in the north. And give her this chewy, and then tell her to take some. Take some and put it in a bag or whatever. And then the next day, I want you to take this bag, and you take it over there to my sister that lives in the south. And give it to her, and then she can use it, and then take the rest of it the next day and take it to my sister who lives in the west. And that's what they used to call each other, the oika, the women that were if there was a man that had like two wives or three wives or four wives, then they would call each other sisters, or and so he said, okay. And so when he got up that morning, he took that bag and he put it over his shoulders, and he started running across all the way down through the washes and up to the land, and he's going over the mountains, and he goes way over there to the north. And he makes it over there by the time the sun is going down. And he has his big bag, and he tells his wife, that my wife, lives in the east. He told me to bring this, and she's supposed to take some. And so the lady said, "Oh, that's so good, that they were, that they didn't have chewy, or maybe that, that maybe they didn't have a lot." So she took some and she put it in a bag. And so the bun said, I'm gonna go to my other wife in the south tomorrow, and I'm gonna take her some of this, and then I'm gonna take some to my wife that lives in the west. So the lady know not to take the whole thing, but she took some, enough for the other ladies to share. So he went to sleep there, and again the next morning he took off and he started to come, at the edge of the world. He started to go, and he looked at all that land that he had to run over, and he saw all the mountains, and he knew where all the mountains were, and he knew where all the rivers and the washes were, and he was thinking, God, it's going to take me a long time. I might not make it in one day, but he was trying to lazy, and he was thinking, I should just, do something, and he was trying to figure out what to do, and then he was sitting there, and he was getting ready to run, and he looked up, and he saw the sun up there. So he thought, hey, maybe I can do that, some of the stars do that. Maybe I can just go across over the sky, in the sky, and over the ground. And so he said, okay, and so he went away toward a little bit away from the north, where the sky dome comes down and it hits the ground, and then so the sky world stops up there, but the ground is here flat. So he gets up there and he starts to climb up there, and he's climbing, and he has the bag, and he's climbing up there, and it's real like that, like the curve in the sky dome. So he's crawling up there, and he finally gets up, and he starts to get his footing, and then he straightens up because he starts to get on top, and he runs, but before, when he was leaving the house, there's something that he didn't notice. It's that when he was calling out of the house, and Autumn House is, a long time ago, they had this like a little small hole opening, and they would put like a deer hide or maybe a blanket or something to cover the door. So there was no doors, it was just an opening. So he crawled out of there, and you're supposed to take the stuff that you have and push it outside and then crawl out and pick it up, but the barn was too lazy. So what he did was he just threw it on his back and started crawling out of that, and he didn't notice something had happened. So the barn got on the sky, and he started to run all the way across from the north to the south, and he ran all the way over there, and he got there, and then he got to the ground, and he got off, he slid down the sky dome, and he landed on the ground. He had this, and he looked at the bag, and there was just a little bit of flour in there, it can't even make that many chimets. And so he was like, "What to do?" And then so he got up and he looked behind him, where he had traveled. He said, all that chewy was just laying all across, because he ripped it when he came out of that house. There was a little rip, and so he ripped it, and so the bag was just pouring all this chewy as he's running across, and he's running, and he gets over there to the to his wife, and he doesn't know what to do. He's kind of like embarrassed, but he doesn't want to tell her, but he needs to tell her. So he goes and he gets that little bit of chewy, and he said, "Oh, my wife, the one that lives in the east, he said to give this to you. Go ahead and have it." And so the lady was thankful, and she took it, and then, took it in the house, and they made chimney, and they ate. And the next day, the coyote's sitting there in a barn, and he's looking at his towards the west, and he's thinking, should I go over there? Because I don't have nothing to give to her, and she's going to find out anyway. And so, but maybe I shouldn't go. And so he finally doesn't go. He doesn't go to her house, and he just goes around the world, and he's looking at stuff. And finally, he kind of forgot about it. So he went over there that one day. He forgot, and he went because he was on the west side, and he went over there to his wife's house that lives over there. And he went in the house and told her, I'm going to sleep here tonight. And she was all happy. And then she said, don't you have something for me you're supposed to give to me? And he remembered. And then he was kind of like, no. And he said, I think you're supposed to give me something. And by then, she had heard what happened, what had happened from the other sisters, because they used to meet, They didn't have cell phones or whatever, but they used to meet each other and, talk once in a while. They would visit. So the bun said, I don't know anything. And he said, and then she told him, said, the other day before a long time ago, I saw you running across the sky and all this white cloud of dust just following you. You're running across, and I was laughing at you. What is he doing out there? And there you were running with all that cloud of smoke behind you. And I was thinking, what's going on? Oh, God, that guy is always doing something. I don't know about him. And so I saw you go over there, and I kind of figured it out. So then later on, I heard that you were supposed to give me some chewy. So, and the barn said, oh, yeah, and he kind of started laughing because he was caught. But if you go outside at night, and you look up at the sky and in the nighttime, and you'll see that white line, Mirgan, they call it the Milky Way. But that Milky Way is what the barn left behind. All that chewy, that white chewy, is laying across, on the sky dome. And so that left that trail there. So if you ever go out at night and you look and see, you look up there, the Milky, remember that story about how the coyote made that panchui, made that on there, and so it's still up there. And that's one of the stories that we tell about the stars, the ban with passage. So good.